Hi guys. So I was prompted to make this video because I'm currently going through what I'm calling my third awakening, because of the time difference between the first two and this one, and also because it feels vastly more expansive than the first two. And there are a lot of shifts going on, and I felt prompted to share some of this with you guys. During the previous, between my first two awakenings and now, I learned a lot of knowledge or information through my own experiences, as well as through a lot of channeled material and other sources of information that I didn't understand when I went through my first and second awakenings, which was really good because at that time I didn't have the desire to kind of question and understand. I was just allowing the experience to unfold, and it was really beautiful to kind of not have this mental processing kind of trying to figure out what was going on all the time. Now I have acquired a lot more information, and so I'm kind of able to note or spot what's happening when it's happening a little more easily. And yes, so a lot of the information that I will start to bring forward now will be quite different than the stuff that I've been sharing before. Some of that will still come through, but the reason for that is because I had no way of kind of fact checking some of the information and the material that I had learned about before. Stuff like channeled information, channeled material coming through another person who has to process that information as well. And so there's distortions that can happen even now for me as I'm learning the process of channeling and communicating through a friend of mine with her higher self, who's very wonderfully offered her time. Not that time is an issue for them, but her resources and her knowledge and what she has access to. So it's really brought me to a new level of experiencing this whole journey, being able to ask these questions directly and immediately receive answers. Of course, there is a lot that I have so many more questions, and what I have been able to kind of check through her higher self as well as through my own is still really tiny in comparison to all the stuff that I would really like to kind of double check with them. But I feel ready to start sharing some of this information because I am now able to kind of check it through my own sources. So, what brought me to making this video now today is I'm going through, again, what I said is what I'm experiencing as my third awakening, and it feels to me like light body activation. When I went through my first two awakenings, I didn't understand anything about the light body. I came to understand a little bit about it during the last year and a half, but I still didn't quite connect my experiences back then to these experiences. So last night, I had a heck of a rough night. Oh my. The last few weeks have been really interesting, and particularly over the last week and a half, I have felt like a lot of energy kind of surging through me at different intervals, as well as connecting with my higher self and feeling the work that she's been doing on me. And I've also kind of checked and asked the higher self of my friend whether it was my higher self doing XYZ at this point, and what this was, and kind of making those connections and bringing the pieces together to form a picture that I am still building onto. But this morning at about 2:30 a.m., I was woken up with this intense energy kind of moving through me, and I hadn't been able to fall asleep again. Surprisingly, I'm not too tired. I feel like I should be more tired, but I feel okay. But more so, I feel a lot of pressure in my head, and I wanted to share some of these symptoms of light body activation with you guys. So, is it light body activation or is it dehydration? I really, in the moments of last night, I was questioning, especially early hours of this morning, am I dehydrated? Is that why I feel like this? Or is this light body activation? So I Googled what the symptoms of light body activation are, and I found a channeled article by Archangel Ariel that shared 10 steps or 12 steps of light body activation. I won't get into them. I will just talk about my personal experiences, all of which were reflected within those 10 steps. I think back then I didn't really have a map to be able to understand what was kind of happening for me, but reading that article really showed me my journey and was able to kind of really point along the path exactly where I was, at which point I was there. So I will share a little bit about first the rough stuff. So the difficulties or the difficult experiences that happened during a year and a half ago during my first two awakenings was there was a lot of purging of, we'll say, negative energies, but from an expanded perspective, it's not quite negative, but we'll, for the sake of you and I speaking and understanding from the human perspective, negative energies that have kind of stuck with us in our tissue, in your energy body, in your mental and your emotional body. And what happens is that we purge that information or energy really quickly, and it can be really uncomfortable. So how we purge that is sometimes through vomiting, sometimes through night sweats, hot and cold flushes, physical pain, diarrhea, going to the bathroom a lot. So what happened with me was I had moments of hot and cold flushes, night sweats. My bed was wet at stages because I just so much, for no reason it seemed, because I was fine during the day. During the night, I would sweat it all out, go to the bathroom 4 times, and have a lot of physical pain in my mid to upper back, as well as in my heart or my chest area, which I learned through the article was the heart chakra activating, and there can be a lot of pain apparently if it has been very closed for a long time, which of course mine was at that time. So some other symptoms that I experienced were, of course, I was dropped into depression, which I've spoken about in other videos. And you can have a look down on my IGTV videos. I talk a little bit more about my 3-day silent meditation, and there are some symptoms that I speak about during that. So last night, some of the rough stuff was, the energy wasn't bad. The energy was really interesting, uncomfortable sometimes, but not painful. But I still do really a headache and really a lot of tension in my head and in my jaw. I had a lot of pain down my back, mid to lower back this time. Didn't get any sleep, lots of discomfort. And I just kind of, before reading that article, I just kind of said to my higher self, if this is light body activation, it's uncomfortable, but keep bringing it on. If it gets too much, I will ask you to slow down. But for now, keep it coming, and let's keep the process kind of moving on as quickly as possible. Some of the positive things that occurred a year and a half ago were my eyesight suddenly improving, my hearing getting sharper, being able to tap into the energy of other things around me, trees, the earth, other people, myself, universal energy, learning Reiki as well was what happened as a byproduct during that time, being able to send energy across time and space. It's cool stuff like that. But yes, my skin completely cleared up at that time. I was kind of really light. I felt light, like walking around feeling like the clouds are moving me, like my feet are barely touching the ground, like roots are walking for me, like wings are carrying my body. It felt like that for an extended period of time. So it was a really beautiful experience. And now I'm having moments of that wonderful, expanded, beautiful light energy and moments of DNA activation. Like energy, light body activation, purging, discomfort. One other thing that did happen during that time, which also I discovered during, as I was reading this article, contact me if you'd like the link to that article. I'm happy to send it to you. Was I just lost my train of thought. There were two things actually. Wait. Okay, I remember. So the first one is about my mind, new neural pathways forming and old neural pathways breaking down. It made studying anything other than my awakening stuff very difficult because I just could not focus on anything else. Like I tried. I was studying my Master of Education at the time, and I just couldn't remember anything. I spent a whole week at one point studying, and a friend asked, "How's your studying going? You've been so busy with your studies. What have you been studying?" And I was like, "I don't know. Education." But I couldn't remember anything beyond that. I couldn't remember any topics. It was just really not easy. And also kind of because of those old pathways breaking down so rapidly and new neural pathways forming, your belief systems and everything that you have kind of held as truth before are just shattering and falling away rapidly. And you don't quite have an experience of who you are yet. You don't quite have a new understanding, I should say, of what this all is and what is happening around you, what the universe is, who you are at a deeper level, what all of this is. All you know is that everything that you once believed to be true is not true. It starts breaking away rapidly because you don't have something new to kind of hold. It's still forming. Those new pathways are still forming. It kind of leaves you in a little bit of an uncomfortable period mentally. For me at that time, I just kind of, as much as I felt the frustration, I welcomed it and eventually learned what it was a few months later. And then again, I came across it in the article now, along with some of my other experiences. So yes, that's what I wanted to share with you guys, is about light body activation and the discomfort that comes along with it, as well as the really, really beautiful stuff that comes along with it. And yeah, I guess I will keep you guys updated about this as my journey progresses. And I will, when I feel more comfortable and when I feel the integration happening, I will start to share more of the channeling stuff with you guys. I have asked for permission to share some of the information that I do get, and I have received a thumbs up for that. So as I develop a stronger connection with my own higher self, as well as with my friend's higher self, I will start to bring more of that knowledge from higher dimensional perspectives to you guys. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to this. Please go ahead and comment if you have anything you'd like to share about your journey, or if you have any questions, and I will share that article link with you. And I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day, and See you guys soon.